link in your channel as well
All
for
right,
you.
we are live in the volume now too. Woohoo!
Woohoo! All right.
Anyways, as you can see, everyone, it's another Storytime Chit-Chat tonight. For when Souls Awaken,
yeah.
we are speaking on chapters 42 to 44. So if you haven't caught up to what was released last week, then and you don't want spoilers, then I suggest you come back to this later after you've caught up. Otherwise, welcome. So as our new normal now, we're gonna yell at you to go read our shit if you're tuning in from my other streams or whatever. So either way, you can see on the screen that we have Facebook, Twitter. We also have Instagram, because for some reason I still haven't put that up there. It's been like 5 months. Five months. Hasn't been 5 months. Haven't had Instagram that long. But either way, Facebook, Twitter, you can read our shit for free on Tapas or Wattpad. Oh, I just realized Wattpad did not get its update yet. So Wattpad, my hands are doing weird ass things. Not that you can even see them at the moment because I don't have that scene up. But Wattpad doesn't get as much love from us as the other, so it's a little. It still gets updated on the right day, but the time is a lot less consistent. And the reason for that is that there we go, we got both of us up there. The reason for that is Wattpad really doesn't offer us anything, and it's horrible for viewership, but we still post there because occasionally we get a bite, and I mean, as long as we're making some sort of progress, then that's something. But otherwise, Tapas is probably the best way to support us for free, because once we get 100 subscribers on there, we can start collecting ad revenue. And I mean, it doesn't change having ads on there or not, because it's just right now we're not benefiting from those ads until we're popular enough to benefit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it costs you nothing to make an account or anything to that nature. So 100% free for you to go on there and subscribe and all that fun jazz, jizzy jazz. If you remember the past scene,
oh my god,
past stream, the jizzy jazz.
Here we go again.
Jizzy jazz. Either way. So tonight we're talking about our other content. So sorry if I'm disappointing you by not playing Oblivion or something. But yeah, my whole life doesn't revolve around Oblivion, guys. I wish it did, but.
Oh my god.
What?
I appreciate you.
You know what?
What?
I'll poke you in the eye.
Do it.
Poke.
You made me go away.
I told you I was gonna poke you in the eye. I can't look at my Discord without poking you in the eye, because otherwise it shows weird bits.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I'm not popping you out, because apparently I'm not cool like that. Either way, it's 10 o'clock, and you know what that means. It's time to get started. And
alright.
And I'm gonna poke you in the eye again. There we go.
Ow, my eye.
As per the usual go about. Sorry, trying to figure out how to word again. I use mouth words good, guys, girls, peeps, neeps, geeps, cheepy deep. I swear I'm gonna accidentally say something that I don't even know I'm saying.
I'm sure you are at some point.
Thanks.
I say that with love.
Okay. Anyways, so
hello, Z.
Z, my wonderful. I love you, Z. Thank you. We have lots of questions tonight, courtesy to Ruby and Z. Hoping to see Ruby in here, but if not, I'm more than happy for you to be listening to us on your way to work, Ruby. I love you. That's why I make emojis for you guys. I'm working on yours, Z. I will try and make yours for you.
I want to make sure that we call out Ruby, especially so that way, if she is listening on the way to work, she can start getting all giddy about us.
Yeah, we
being
like flustering our
Ruby.
Our Ruby. We'd like to fluster you too. Hey. If my avatar didn't just creep you out, then please stick around. And if it did creep you out, please stick around. Hey. Anyways, so chapter 42 is where we're starting tonight, first when Souls Awaken. And this one is called Warmth for the Night. And for appearing characters, quick check. Z, do we sound okay? Or are you gonna wait until an hour into the stream when it's like over to tell us that we quiet or something? Totally not calling anyone out.
There is definitely a habit of that.
Good. Beautiful. Awesome. You are beautiful.
I am beautiful.
That was to Z.
Oh.
But you're beautiful too.
Okay.
Anyways.
Well, that's good.
So for our appearing characters, we have Alora, Rune, Flora, Hugo, and Lena.
Woo.
Which I just realized, like, I need to check something here, guys, because I'm like, I realized that I made a big fucky-wucky mistake with something, which I'm not gonna point out what it was, but
I know what it was.
Oh, I know you know what it was, because I panic texted you, and I fixed it. I fixed every occurrence of it, but, I realized a possible... Okay, no. Because, if you guys remember from the early chapters that, Flora has a girl from her past named Lyra, I for a moment there, I was, like, panicking. I'm like, wait a minute, did I use the name... Like, I was like, wait, did I name her Lena too? So that way everyone, like, she's dating Aaliyah, and she's, like, banging Lena now, and then did. No. But no. The one from her past is Lyra, and this one's Lena. Apparently I like L-named guys. Just...
Oh my god.
But I had to double check because I was getting
you that.
I was getting paranoid, okay? It's my mental health has been nowhere for the past, like, month or 2 or 3 or 6 or 7 years. But,
Can confirm.
So, anyways, we have no god chat. Yes, I like short names too. They're fun. Just wait until oh no, you did read my dragon story, Z, so you know the I have some names in there I cannot pronounce, and they are long.
Yeah.
We call him King for short. Why? Because his name is impronounceable. Anyways, so 42 starts out with the girls. That's Alora and Flora. Yeah, I love saying it. And Rune, plus the sloth. Emotional support sloth. #1 character. Most important bitch around. Anyways, it starts out with them, traveling through the mountains. And they're on their way for another mission, but it's, like kind of like blizzard conditions at the moment. So they finally reach a town, and they make it into a tavern where they meet the bartender named Hugo, who owns this little nice establishment. And he's a little worried about Rune, so that's another little hint that, sloths are... not common in these parts, or no one seems to know what the fuck a sloth is besides Alora, so and the people that meet her. Anyways, but Al assures him that Rune is Gucci, and he's like, okay, cool, and he sees that she's wearing a Sanakura patch, so he's basically going like, I see, you're an EMT, so you must be a good person. And so he lets them stay the night. I
appreciate the vote of confidence.
He lets them stay the night to wait out the storm, because, a follower of Sanakura can't be all that bad.
Not at all.
Honestly, I think that's the only one that I didn't write, like, a shitty follower of. But, can we just take a moment?
I would hope.
To appreciate the fact that Hugo is like, sure, you can stay the night, but you just have to be extra nice to the waitress. Like, throw her some extra money.
Oh, don't worry, the waitress is taken care of.
Oh, yeah, she is. Anywho, we get to see the way Alora chooses, the order to do her prayers, and it's by Rune's guidance, because of course it is. The odd thing here, though, is that Rune picks a prayer that was, made to Larsolus, and Alora mentions that Rune doesn't normally pick Larsolus's, prayers, and you could take a moment to think what that means, what that really says about the people, possibly, that normally pray to Larsolus.
Rip.
I mean, just speculation here, guys. I mean, remember Axis's dad?
Rip.
Anyways, so this prayer is extremely reminiscent of our boy Axis. Like we were just talking about him a little bit. And Alora still struggles, and when she shows it to Flora, the girl is like, you know, she can't help but agree with our hero that Axis seems to be haunting them. At this point, they're kind of almost accepted. Like, Flora's kind of accepted his death, you know, she just, and Alora's finally coming, you know, it's like, yeah, he's probably not alive. He probably died or something. She doesn't know that he actually ran away, you know? Mm-hmm. However, Flora's sadness is short-lived, though, with Lena's cleavage cheering her right up. And we see that Flora is not shy, and she's quite smooth, honestly. Let's be real here. Yeah. So, Flora heads off to flirt to her heart's content until their meal is ready. And then she ends up rejoining Al, but, you know, she's kind of like, gotta get out, gotta get fast. And you know why? Because she wants to go spend the night with Lena and her kitty. But she doesn't do it until she clears it with Al. And Al's like, yeah, go have fun. Just an FYI, at this point in the story, Flora is 19. And so the chapter
all
wraps.
Grown up.
And then, you know, since we had that nice little light moment of, you know, Flora's getting lucky, having fun, we, of course, had to remind you that Alora is sad and lonely and misses Axis. His name is Loki.
Yeah, there is actually a cat. There is an actual cat.
It just, and the cat is named you know, is named Loki, which is named after another cat from another one of my stories, which is then named, you know, with the idea of Loki the god, you know, because that story, I don't know, I wanted to do that. But it's a reference to another story that I wrote that I have not published, and I don't know if I will. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe I'll just throw it up there as a exclusive for Patreons because I don't know.
Man, that one, it feels so long ago that I read that one.
Yeah. Anyways.
Anywho.
On to chapter 43 now, because we're cool like that. Oh my god, the cat is the pretext to the real kitty she wants to meet. Yeah, boy. You right. Flora has no chill. Or she does. I don't really know which. I mean, yes. She's like, yes. I'm like, no. I'm like, my hand is freaking the fuck out, because apparently my leap motion don't want to play well today.
Oh Either my god. Way.
But,
hello, Crow.
Hi, Crow.
Hi. Good to see you.
I'm always so excited when you come and join us.
Yes, thank you for joining us tonight.
So, now we're on to chapter 43. Big spoilers in this one if you haven't read up to this point and you're worried. It's time to check out. Anyways, so our appearing characters are Hugo, Alora, Flora, Rune, Miss Charming, Psycho Phoenix, and the Best Phoenix, of course.
Uh-oh.
So, in God Chat, we have Viserys and we have Larsolus. And in the chat right now, we have a link to Crow's comic named Monsters. I need to set up, so I'm probably going to set up a new, like, link that lets me just put a list so that way everyone's stuff is together. I might do a link tree with recommended stories as long as all those artists are okay with me using their link on there. I don't see why they wouldn't be. I mean, I'm just promoting them for free on the stream. But that way I can just throw up a stream, my, you know, like, recommended stories link tree, and then have everyone's, you know, we'd have your Crow's comic and novel on there, and then as well as K-Gas's comic, and possibly Snowy's. Because I love Snowy. They don't know how much I love them because they haven't joined a Discord, but I love them so much. They're one of my first people that, like, started commenting on my stuff, and I love their comics so much. It's amazing. Anyways. Anywho. So chapter 43. In God Chat, we got Viserys and Larsolus. We only went off on a brief tangent there. I mean, anyways, the outline. I feel like the music got really loud all of a sudden. Why is it like battle music now? Hold on, I'm sorry. It switched to the steampunk music mix. Apparently it's epic battle. Give me a moment. We went to the chat. There we go.
Everyone in the chat is like, epic music intensifies. I appreciate you both.
I switched it. Has it really been an hour since I started the other one? These are like each hour-long music thingies. I don't know, this one might be kind of epic too. Whatever, we're epic people here. As long as it's not drowning our voices out. That's all that matters.
That's okay, because my next story is an epic, so.
Alright, we'll get there. So the blizzard is over in chapter 43, which is titled To Protect. And, the blizzard is over, and do I need to change the music? This is just copyright. You know what? I'm changing the end. Hold on. We'll go back. Oh, look, here we go. Here's a nice little tavern fantasy music stuff. Woo! Oh God.
First said you only needed to change it if Gandalf was gonna die, but.
Oh well, I don't know. So but it's changed now. We'll see.
That's what's important.
No one's dying in this chapter, for once. I don't think. Yeah, no, this is... Wait, no, someone does die in this chapter. I lied.
Yeah, no, this one
Damn it, this is the only chapter someone dies in out of the 3 chapters we're covering tonight, too.
It involves a little bit of light murder.
It's not even light... Is it murder when it's for the betterment of mankind?
I mean, I'm also referring to the fact that, like, an entire town gets... we'll get there.
You know what? Okay, so the blizzard is over, and Flora is back at the tavern by the time Allura wakes up. And she makes Allura choke on nothing with a sly little joke about Lena's kitty. So, before the two have breakfast, it's totally worth reading about. It's great. Thirsty lesbian is thirsty. Anyways.
And it's not me this time.
Before the two, and as they're about to leave the tavern, Flora has a fateful encounter with Miss Charming, who is to be named later. Winky face. I can only blink at you. I don't have it. I need an emote set up so I can, like, wink.
Yeah.
Anywho, the girls set off on the prayer, and in this chapter, Crow, it's fan service for myself. What you talking about? I'm the thirstiest bitch of them all. Anyways, I don't stop at women. I'm thirsty for everyone. Anywho. The girls set off on the prayer, and in this chapter we see a bit of the dichotomy between the two. That, Allura's really careful in maintaining her, her pack and her gear, while Flora is just like jams it in her bag. She's just like, shove it in there. However, at least she's not that way in the bedroom.
Just like feelings.
But wow, that went 2 different directions. Anyways.
Yeah, apparently.
So it's at the gear shift, like this moment is, where we have like the major scenery change and stuff from the cold mountaintop of snow to like the warmer valley below with greenery and life and, stream and pretty little things and birdies and fish. As they continued their way, they found themselves, kind of being led by red and orange and yellow birds, all suspiciously the color of fire. And that's extremely on purpose. And Allura makes the comment that Larcellus really must not want them to get lost. And why is Larcellus so invested in this prayer? I wonder. But you shouldn't if you read the chapter. Otherwise, stay tuned. I'm getting there. This is what they call poorly built suspense. If you want the well-built suspense, then I suggest leaving the stream to go read up to the current chapter so I don't spoil stuff. Plus, I word better on docs than in mouth. Anywho.
I'm so proud of you.
Larcellus is making sure that they don't miss this. And as they get close, Allura passes off Rune to Flora, telling her to stay by the water because they're starting to... I love you, Crow. I love you so much, Crow.
You're fantastic, Crow.
Your memory is absolute shit. Mine too, which is amazing that I keep my stories as straight as I do.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay.
So Flora is like, I'm losing my spot. Okay. So, anyways, Allura is telling Flora to, stay. Stop! I can't with your little cursor highlighting everything. You need to stop. I'm like, the part that I'm trying to read is it just reads HippieGhost because your little tagline is just like HippieGhost. And I'm like, I can't read that whole sentence now. But
okay, go ahead.
Are you sure?
I'll be good.
Are you done? Are you done playing with the document?
Maybe. For now.
Okay. So, anyways, Allura tells Flora to stay by the water because they're starting to see evidence of the problem Phoenix. Thank you, Z. And Flora's like, all right. And Al takes off, but, you know, along the way, Flora just, like, pops out of her shadow, like, oh my god, a survivor just collapsed in front of me, and they need my help because I doctor. And Allura is, like, kind of thinking, no shit, Flora, everything's, like, you can smell everything on fire from here. But she's like, okay, let me just deal with the threat, and then you can come help. But we need to deal with the threat first, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, thank you, Crow.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy writing all kinds of, I'm starting to work on a girl love novel here. But,
ooh, yeah.
But,
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, I'm enjoying exploring things. Anyways, meanwhile, Viscera seems to know Larsolus' plan, whatever it may be, and he is worried Allura won't be able to handle it. And when Allura does reach the well-meaning Phoenix, who is terrorizing the town, she really does struggle, and she starts going, oh my god, what if it's Axis? Because, I mean, the Phoenix, kind of, like, you know, the build is similar, the clothes are similar, and she, like, freezes up. She's like, oh my god. But no, she pulls herself together, and she's like, I'm gonna kill this guy. It can't be Axis. He's gone. Anyway. But, you know, he's gone. Gotta do this. And then somebody does before she can. Flames erupt out of his chest. It's like, Fwah! And he's dead. And she's like, oh my god. But anyways, in all the irritation and glory, we do get someone who Larsolus paid to deal with the fallen Phoenix after he, like, you know, sent the prayer to Allura. So, but not just anyone. It wasn't just anyone that, you know, fucking Larsolus sent. It was the one and only Ghost.
Uh-oh.
Not you, Hippie. There's another ghost, apparently. But, no. So, this is such an emotionally charged scene. And, because it, you know, it's fucking Axis. Axis is finally back. And, of course, he comes back by killing someone, like, immediately. Like, first thing he does is kill someone and then says, like, the most douchey thing he can. Well, at least, I don't know why he wanted me to kill him, but hey, gold is gold, man. Like, he's such a douche. Like, I love him. He's a diamond in the rough, is what polite people would say. Anyways, so now I'm not going to say everything that goes on in the scene, obviously, because it's one of my favorite pieces. This is actually the scene that I was going to start the story with. This was originally the beginning of the story. This chapter was supposed to be numero uno, and then I was like, you know what? Let me just write a little bit of a flashback. Okay, let me do a little bit more of her childhood. And Hippie's like, hey, Amanda, why don't you write their childhood? I'm like, no, you're fucking crazy. And then, you know, 150 pages later, their childhood's written, and and now we're here. So,
you're welcome, readers.
Yeah. I mean, I possibly might not have killed off that kid if I didn't write their childhood, but you know.
F.
Anyways, so, like I said, I'm not gonna say everything that goes on in the scene, but Al does force Axis to see the reality of how he left them. Like, she doesn't let him live in the ignorance of thinking that he did the right thing, and she pushes the point that, you know, he basically left them to die there, and that abandonment hurt her more than he could have ever unintentionally hurt her. Like, she's like, you could have burned me alive, and I would have, like, that would be nothing compared to, you know, you just kind of leaving us there for dead. Even with the best intentions, like. But, anyways, Flora comes up on the two, and they have a group hug with Al barely holding herself together before, you know, the reality hits them that the survivors still need help, and Flora leaves them telling them that she'll be listening. And, but, you know, in Allura's turmoil here, she neglects to remember that this I'll be listening doesn't just mean give me a shout and I'll be right over. It means that she is actually listening in through the shadows, like, to every word. Like, she's not even eavesdropping because she told them. And Axis doesn't know because he doesn't know that Flora's powers have advanced that far, you know? He's not privy to, you know, her progress at this point.
And, well said, Z.
And so the chapter ends with Flora learning the truth about what she almost did in chapters, 21 and 22 with Uska's all-consuming darkness. Like, she realized that she learns that she's responsible for about a third of Alora's PTSD. Like, and almost killed her and Axis. And is, and she might even possibly realize that that was the straw that made, Axis abandon them. Was, like, in that, like, because, it was just rough, man. So, deep in the rough. Amazing story build-up. Yes, thank you. And, yeah, Helheim is paved with good intentions. I like that, Z. But, yeah. So, that brings us to chapter 42, which is called The Lost Dog, which is totally a slight at Axis for always barking at people and growling, and because that's just a joke that I didn't even notice until like about this point in the story. Hippie was like, he's like a fucking dog. I'm like, oh my god, you're right. Like, you're so right. I'm making this chapter called The Lost Dog. Woof, woof. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Nightbot has some commands like that I left for this specific part. I was hoping someone would type bark to to make fun of I think there's also one for woof. I could be wrong.
Let's find out.
Yep.
He's like a chihuahua.
Oh my god. Don't tell him that. He'll burn you alive.
Small dog syndrome.
So, fire dog syndrome. Small fire dog syndrome. Anyways, so 44, we have, for appearing characters, we have Alora, Flora, Rune, Axis, and the lady that lives in the town.
Yay!
And then, all the dead bodies. So, in God Chat, we had Luna Norma, Larsolis, and Asa Rior. And I honestly love Asa's one line in this, part. She's such an innocent little cinnamon bun. I swear.
She is.
So, this chapter is dealing with the aftermath of the fallen phoenix, and it starts with Luna Norma and Larsolis in the God Talk, discussing how Axis and Alora got out of Usko's nightmare. Luna Norma states that he failed to help the phoenix, and this conversation doesn't really do more other than to remind you that you don't know either. And Asa Rior, it being the adorable sweetheart of a goddess that she is, she's just like, maybe love saved them. Why not? Because, she's a bit hopeless sometimes. She has hope for everyone. That's why she's the goddess of sanctuary, and she takes all the souls that can't go to heaven or hell. So it's totally in her character to be like, maybe love saved them. And plus, she's married to Santa Kuro, so, I mean... Yeah. And during...
so wonderful.
So during this God Chat, what we have going on in the story part is,
oh my god,
they end up discussing, oh my god, is Axis Woodford?
He is.
If Axis is Woodford, then I guess I'm Alora.
Oh my god.
With the way that dog follows me around.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's a possessive little puppy.
Yeah, he is. So it's during the God Chat that we learn about Rune's age. And Rune is over 20 years old, at least. And in case you're curious, according to National Geographic's, the average lifespan for a two-toed sloth is 20 years old in the wild. Rune is based more on the brown-throated three-toed sloth, at least for appearance, and according to animaldiversity.org, they typically live to 30 to 40 years old in the wild, which I was like, wow, that's crazy. I really didn't think they lived that long. But yeah, anywho, during this chapter, we see that Axis is still grumpy mumpy Axis and not very helpful. And we also get to see Flora remind him that she wields the Guardian of Hell and will destroy him if he breaks Alora's heart again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So that gave him a bit to think about. And he does this while doing nothing to help out. But, he eventually goes and finds Al. And in all of his grace and love and eloquent speech, he first thing he says to her is, "You look like shit." Before he even bothers asking her what she's doing. And what she is doing is she's marking the bodies, making it easier for, the souls to go to the right place, which is why Nexiva, the goddess of lost souls, doesn't actually dislike Elora, at least yet. Insert winky face. Anywho, we have a nice little moment of care from Axis, though, as he wipes the clay and soot from Elora's face. And it's a cute little reminder that there's still something there between them. And if Laura deflects the rest of the scene by asking him to burn the bodies without actually giving him the chance to decide on it. She's like, "Yo, can you do me a favor?" And he's like, "What do I get out of it?" And she's like, "Could you just burn the bodies?" And then he leaves before, he could answer. She voluntold him, basically. And he does it, of course, because he's terrified he'll disappoint her, and he's trying not to fuck up because he hasn't decided if he's gonna run yet. He's still contemplating.
That reminds me of... It's funny the way that she voluntold, because it reminds me, like, there were times, like, doing, like, scout events or something like that, where, like, I'd have, like, a piece of trash or something like that I just didn't have a trash can for, like, somewhere to put it, so I'd just be like, "Hey, can you hold this for a second?" And someone would be like, "Huh? Yeah, sure, I guess." They take it, and I just walk away.
That sounds about what you would do. So, anyways, during this time that he's, burning the bodies, we actually, we get a good insight of how much control Axis has developed in his powers, like, up until this point. Like, he can control their temperature, condense them, make them burn brighter, hotter. Like, he can change the size, temperature, and he can extinguish them at will as long as they're his flames. So he gets the job done as quickly as he can so he can go chase after Elora. And, of course, he's chasing after Elora. That's what I was trying to say. And when he does reach her, he finds her dealing with a woman and telling her to remember that the Fallen Phoenix isn't actually a monster and was just trying to help out, After this little scene, Al is pushing herself towards her next prayer to bury the turmoil Axis's return has brought her, which then leads to Axis having probably the biggest balls than anyone else in the story, as he just, kind of takes Rune from her without saying anything and drags her to his little napping rock. Because apparently he's the only one not afraid of being smited or breaking Elora, so... Al isn't happy, but she complies. And this is something that makes Axis super important, like I was just saying. He's the only one not afraid to make Al do what's best for her. Like, he's like, yes, be selfish, girl. Come on, you need to be a little bit selfish. But, this also leads to the scene where we see that Elora has the best comebacks, like absolutely legendary "no you" kind of responses, she just,
"Oh yeah,
you're being ridiculous, you are." I love that. It's like, I love Elora. She has no strength when it comes to comebacks.
Not at all.
Oh, and it's the best thing,
Absolutely
this girl
no
could fucking
game
wreck
at all.
She could wreck your life in 20 different ways, but she can't, hurt your feelings with a comeback.
She always does all of the diplomatic dialogue options in video games because she doesn't want to hurt the NPC's feelings.
Yeah, but she does have good lines when she's killing people. It's just not when she's trying to...
Missing self-care program has returned.
The missing self-care. Yes, that's basically what it is. We have the emotional self-care, we have the emotional support sloth, and the, self-care program is now teaming up together again. So anyways, this chapter wraps up with Al finally getting a bit of rest, and she timidly contemplates Axis coming back with the group, and Flora, presses some questions that forces Al to kind of make her decision. And I am not pure Paragon in Mass Effect. I will take some Renegade options. But yes, you are right. I will lose 3 hours of progress in a game because I heard of NPCs' feelings.
Can confirm.
And from Flora, so it's just so blah. Anyways, we finally have our little group reunited, and that's how the chapter ends. If you haven't checked out the newest chapter, I suggest you do so. More people die. It's great. Nobody we care about. And just a reminder that if you subscribe...
We've done a lot of things we're not proud of, but at least nobody got hurt. Well, maybe some people, but nobody we knew.
Just remember, if you subscribe at a high enough tier, you get to have like one of these people that get killed named after you in the story. Or, you know, just a name that's not ridiculous that you pick. I mean, if your name is ridiculous, then that's fine. But like, I'm not gonna, you know, be like, she killed Buttwad, you know. Anyways, so we're at like the halfway mark, and I have a ton of questions, but because we need to, you know, manage time, what I'm going to do is we're going to jump over to Cece's time, and we'll just do questions. I'll do all the When Souls Awaken questions after hers because I don't have work tomorrow, but she does, so I can stick around, but she can't.
Yeah.
So I'll sit here and talk to myself about questions while you guys listen. It'll be great. Anyways, over to CC time. Here we go. That is that's the promo. There we go. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you all. And look, there's Amanda up there. She's tiny again. Okay, so I actually have quite a few questions here, but I'm going to go to our beginning a little bit because today is a very special day for Tapas. Actually, I got two big things. First of all, holy crap, I made the front page.
That's super exciting.
I was not expecting that, and it was great because like I got a subscriber and was like, okay, cool, you know, did my little thank you for subscribing post on the thing, and they're like, oh yeah, well, you know, I recognized you when I saw you on the front page, and I went, you did what? Excuse me?
Yeah, you gotta love Tapas for never telling you about that. Like, if you get there, they don't like, tell you. It just happens.
It was just like, what? But the other big important thing is that today officially starts the kind of where the Felren is beginning. So that is correct. A darkness is coming to Aphing. What kind of darkness exactly? What extent to this? Well, I'm actually going to just kind of read that little tagline just to give you guys all an idea. So tagline goes, not every story in Aphing is one of grand adventure. Not every story is a tale of wonder and hope. Some stories are much darker than that, shared in hushed whispers when the fires have faded to coals and the young have been sent to bed. There is one such tale that speaks of a darkness greater than any other, a darkness so harsh, so suffocating, that it engulfs the brightest lights around it. It's the tale of a man with a tormented soul, a man of many names. Some call him Oathbreaker, others the Soul Render, but most know him by his first title, given by the Knights of Solene. They call him the Felren. And that is my tagline for that, and it is. I am super excited about this one, and so because of that, I want to talk a little bit about Ren's other appearances today, because it's like it's gonna kind of play into a lot for where we're going later on. So, you know, we have a few hints at some possible things, and, you know, if you're interested in reading more about these, I'm going to actually name the stories that he's appearing in here. So, starting out, his first appearance is in The Shopkeeper, during which he, and I'm going to use the term, incapacitated a guard through the power of light murder. The guard was harassing a customer over purchasing some witchcraft supplies, which is a big hint that, you know, magic is illegal in most parts of Aphing, and by hint I mean it's very obvious. And the guard refers to him as an Oathbreaker, which brings me to a very specific point. Yes, poor Shopkeeper and Ezra, that is correct, because Ezra gets involved with this. One thing I noticed is that the Shopkeeper, really, if the events in the Shopkeeper didn't happen, then a lot of things would have been a lot calmer for a lot of people. It's actually, for an insignificant story, it's a very significant story. You know, it basically becomes the root cause for about like 4 or 5 different people's like paths at this point that then affect other paths. Yeah, it's crazy. But so the big thing is you know, he's referred to as an Oathbreaker, but I want to kind of point out that Oathbreaker is not a reference to Oathbreaker paladins. in D&D. Oathbreaker is actually a title that has been given to him, meaning that he broke the oath he swore to uphold as a knight himself. But what oath did he break? Why does he have such a reputation? Well, this is actually a big part of what the Felren is going to cover. So it's going to be going through basically from his childhood and up through his teenage years, up until we get to that big, like what happened, how is he where he is now, wandering around aping, doing things. So there's going to be some really big things coming up. But we also have another appearance by him. The weave of fate is interwoven in strange and powerful ways. Yes, very well said, Z. So, Ren's second appearance occurs in the incredible documentaries of Lady Farista. First is foreshadowed by Scarlet mentioning having someone in the area to watch their backs if needed. And if you haven't finished reading for Lady Farista's story, kind of a spoiler alert here. But later on, he actually appears just in time to save the pair from a Baloth attack. Now, a Baloth is a huge creature. I mean, we're talking like, the size of like an elephant, but like, it's capable of charging, it's horned, it's basically like kind of like an almost dragon type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thirsty Chan is an amazing little story. Yes, it is. Highly recommend the incredible documentaries of Lady Farista because, we have thirsty lesbians in it. But the main thing I want to point out with this Baloth is these things are huge. They are powerful. They are strong. You see one just slam its foot down on a guy and he is just crushed. These things can do serious damage to somebody. Ren takes a charging one and just tanks it head on. And he does so with nothing but his sword, a sword which, by the way, destroyed one of its horns in the charge. Okay, to stop something of that size, charging at full speed would take a massive force. And Farista knows that she essentially witnessed the impossible when she saw it. It's a huge hint at the power level we're dealing with here. So it's just kind of something to bear in mind as we go through the story, is like, you're going to see him get some serious buffs as well. And he's got one very particular ability that is integral to the story. I'm not going to spoil it here, but it's a very pivotal part to his character and where he's at. Bull Moose Dragon I'm not familiar with, but I'm going to assume yes, probably. I mean, it's definitely like more like draconic, but it's wingless and it's, it's kind of like frog-like in a way too. It's like a mix between a giant lizard, a giant frog, and like, I guess, dinosaur type of thing. But there is one thing I want to say and speak to, especially the people who have read through and everything. But Ren has appeared in one of the other Aphuanian Tales, in a way, and I'm actually waiting to see if anyone picks up on his other appearance. Speaking of, keep an eye out for future hints at reasons to go back to some of the previous stories if you've already read them, because time is not written in stone, as it were, and there may be points where I have, not necessarily retcons, but planned little cameos and homages to something that are coming up, little extra details that will be added in to make a few things make a little bit more sense. They're intentionally left out at the moment, and I have reasons for that. So we're I'm very excited to see about that. In all of his appearances except for one, Ren is accompanied by a young woman named Gemini, and I really want to talk about her for a few moments here. So Gemini is a priestess of Hyris, a bird god of light, actually more of an owl god, that acts as a parallel to Barthun. So Barthun, as you know, is the sun god, and his light is oppressive, controlling, and burning, whereas Hyris is more calm, bright, and healing. What are you doing, Amanda?
I am looking at my phone as I fix something.
What did you do?
Nothing! Did you go on?
Gemini is a healer and seems almost glued to Ren's side. So the two of them are very close companions. She's going to act as kind of the bright, cheery demeanor compared to Ren's, angry tsundere.
Why is
like I'm
starting. What is my computer doing? I'm sorry. Go on.
Are you okay?
Yeah, just Xbox decided it was its turn to shine. And I'm like, no, honey, no.
Okay.
Sorry, go on. Didn't mean to interrupt.
You're good. No, you're fine. So, but yeah, that's what a lot of details I have on the Valren. If people have like questions or comments about stuff like that, I will certainly field them. And Z, to answer your question, I'm not going to answer that question. That is, was it? Because,
To answer your question, I'm not answering your question.
because the only hint I'm going to give is that his first appearance is in the Shopkeeper. Which means that, anything before that you don't have to worry about. But other than that, I want to keep it a mystery, and I want to see if somebody guesses right. So, on to questions. So, Amanda, are you ready to ask some wonderful
questions? Am I ready
questions?
for anything? That's the real question.
Genuinely don't know.
I don't know either. Are you sure you want me to ask? No, I'm just kidding. So, how you doing today?
I am just doing it magically.
Do you like pickles?
I do like pickles.
Oh, you mean you want the
yes,
written
I was going to say, and I would also like for you to read the written questions.
Okay, So, has Ezra accepted anything, or was it more of a blindsided, emotional ball of goo proposal?
So this one was fielded by Ruby, and I believe that what she was asking is has he kind of like accepted everything that's going on and has really thought through the whole pirate being a pirate, because in Crimson Tempest he becomes a member of it, or in Unrelenting Fate he becomes a member of the Crimson Tempest, and the question is that he's actually kind of blindsided by everything. He just goes with whatever won't get him killed slowly. And, big point there is that, he's not necessarily against dying, which is not a good thing. And it's part of the plot point. And they're working on that on the Tempest.
Mm-hmm.
He's at the point where he doesn't really care much about anything that happens to him, but he doesn't necessarily also want to die violently.
Yeah.
It's not so much he wants to die so much as he just wants to stop existing. And he struggles with knowing exactly what he wants as far as in life, because he doesn't really want anything. So he's kind of accepting everything that's coming to him. They're in the Crimson Tempest, it's his the first time that he's challenged pretty much to be I have to think about what I really want and how to move forward. And Elra and a few other characters really push him for that. And he also, she was very specific in the person that she had selected to be training him, because she gave him a certain somebody that is also very traumatized and has been through a lot. And that would be
everyone.
Yes, and that would be Crow's favorite character, which is Farron, who makes his first appearance at the end of Unrelenting Fate, which is, a big excite. So he is a wonderful character, and I am excited to show more of him, but we're probably not going to see much of that until after the Valren, and there's a lot of reasons for that.
All right, so what kind of education and work has Ezra done, just to get a better idea of the man?
So Ezra's mostly worked odd jobs that he's kind of picked up over the years, clerk somewhere, or maybe he would work on a little farmer field or something, or help build a bridge or whatever.
Like a
Not necessarily, yeah, like a shopkeeper, which that, hey, look, there's a little parallel there. I wonder if there's anything related to that. But Aving doesn't actually have much in the way of the formal education system, and a large portion of Aphuanians are illiterate and uneducated. Ezra knows how to read, but that's about it. He does not. He is emotionally kind of intelligent, and he's not necessarily stupid, but he doesn't know much.
Mm-hmm. So, how did Ezra meet his wife?
So they met when Ezra moved to Elia's town, Elia being his wife, Elia's hometown of Dalamir, which happens to be where the shopkeeper takes place. What a coincidence. He was trying to get away from the suffocation of Alona because, Alona is basically like church capital of the world right now. The Alonan capital city is basically the Vatican, and a lot of people are not happy about that. But he met her there, and she melted for him like butter.
Aww.
Because he was a lot more charming and a lot more like, I know what I want.
He's pretty charming when he's not depressed.
He is very charming when he's not depressed, and hopefully we get to see him when he's not depressed. Wouldn't that be lovely, everyone?
Yeah, I have someone I ship him very hard with.
Oh,
but,
yes.
I don't think she's made an appearance yet. Anyways, why is Pengu Doctor so adorable?
So Sierra actually just chimed in here and says, and I quote, "What? I'm adorable?" She actually chirped that, and now she's blushing profusely. I think it's because she's a bit of a puppy, and now she's blushing harder. So I think the answer to the question is, Sierra is adorable because she has extreme sub energy, and she is just like super easily flustered, and it is cute as hell.
Yeah. So the captains of the Crimson Tempest. One is the fun aunt who does crazy shit, and the other will mom you, then work you like no tomorrow? What brought this idea about?
So, Elra and Arya being sisters was almost always a thing. There was a while where the
one person.
Yes, I was actually getting there. So there was a while where the two of them were actually one person and were a big part of Farron's story. But over time, I felt that it was better to go back to my original plan for them and have them be, separate people, where Elra is the Scion and Arya is the witch. Before that, Elra was the name of the character, and she was both a witch and a Scion. She had both abilities. She looked a lot more like Arya and had extreme tsundere tendencies.
Did not realize my cap locks was on for that. Either way.
Fantastic, but yes, correct. But yeah, so my original plan was that Arya and Elra were supposed to be sisters, and that's because they play a big role in Farron's story, but I wanted to give them their own story as well, and their path actually led to the Crimson Tempest, which there's a lot to do with that. So we're gonna see more of that, but for the most part, their character, like their personalities themselves, sort of came to be on their own after I did that separation. I let Arya have that kind of crazy vibe that goes along with her magic, and Elra became a lot more stoic and detached. She still does not like to be flirted with. She does not like, and her thing is that she refers to herself as straight, except, despite her better judgment.
All right.
But yeah, go on.
Sorry, I'm realizing we're almost halfway through the questions, and you got 10 minutes.
Yep. Let's move.
Why is Brune so awesome?
She's a big woman with a big personality, and nothing makes her happier than making new friends. Her energy is warm, welcoming, and lots of fun, and she can crush people to death, so that's good.
So oh my god, I don't know why I skipped his name. So Eric, what exactly is his deal? He seems unhinged.
So that's Eric with a K, by the way. Very, very specific. He spells his name with a K.
I have to say, I forget what I was watching the other day, but they're like, oh my god, he's Eric with a K, and all Erics with a K are evil. I'm like, who decided this? When did this happen?
Who decided? Yeah, I don't know. And Z, to answer your question, no, he cannot.
He can spell his name, kinda. He puts the K backwards.
He does put the K backwards, but he needs help.
He gets the K from Kit.
Oh my god. Yes. But so we actually see his backstory in the future. I have a planned story for him, but you can view part of it now, so you can see parts of his childhood right now if you're a Patreon subscriber. The long and short of it, though, is he's had a hard past, and his unhinged personality is really a combination of that trauma and genuine character, and I really feel like Amanda has something to say about that little past story.
So,
go ahead.
Once upon a time, we did a collab with a character that I made named Chloe, and it ended up being like such a perfect ship between the two that we were like, oh my god, she has to be made into an Aphuanian so she can actually be part of this story, because it'll be a great, part for Eric. And So I've actually taken Chloe from her world and made an Aphuanian version of her that, and I write her lines and stuff for her parts. So it's a little collaborative piece, that part. And I love Chloe. She's like, I love her so much. She's a great character, and she's perfect for Eric. She might be really a little more crazy in a way, but like, I don't know. They're really good together.
They're really good together.
And I made her backstory so beautifully sad.
Yes,
so
and I can't wait to show it to you all, because it's going to be one of the few collaborative pieces we have coming up. There's another one down the line as well, but I'm not sure which one we're going to get to first. It all depends on our
Knights
schedule.
of the Light Wisdom is the other collaborative piece, and that is basically Hippie challenged me to write a story in her world. And so the majority of the cast are all my characters, with some of her main cast also coming in, and it ended up having a huge effect on the world because it turned out so well. And she's like, we're keeping this. I'm like, oh, okay, it's canon. I mean, none of it's canon now because Aping's been rewritten like 6 times, so it's like the whole plot needs to be reworked, but it's great. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, most of it is still canon, but it's just good. There's some adjustments.
And the best thing is the main character's name is Clovia, and you'll see her possibly meet a character in a different backstory. She might make a cameo.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that. So, moving on.
Right. That's my cue. Your dessert chef. Where did they pick her up from? Because she is great.
So this is a reference to Chai, who appears in Unrelenting Fate. So Chai is from the town of Halidota, same as Donovan, which is, so Halidota is a city in, Sevis. And the two actually joined up together. I haven't quite written out how they joined, but I do know that the two of them, their paths, are from together because they kind of are from the same city. They have a very sibling-like relationship despite being from different parents, and they're almost inseparable. So when one of them joined the crew, the other one was like, okay. It's just a matter of figuring out which one was the first one.
Okay, so is Brune's cabin just one big bed, or does she have other stuff in there?
She also has a potted flower named Hilda, a small dresser with a few extra clothes, and that's it.
Why do I just imagine her sitting there with Hilda practicing her pickup lines on her?
Oh, she absolutely does.
She goes, okay, pretty flower. You are the beautiful woman.
Yes, absolutely.
Now accept my chocolates. No, I won't pick you, don't worry. No, I pick you, but I won't pick you. So
that is exactly what I was going with.
Do you have an ironically motion sick crew member?
Shockingly, no. At least not yet.
How much ale or mead does the ship go through in a month?
So, this question is hard to answer because most of the ale and mead and other alcoholic beverages, which there's a lot of it, is stolen from other ship. And so are the tables and the chairs. And there was also a bar that was stolen from an actual tavern, just kind of straight up lifted out of that place. It was a fun Tuesday, but, I guess the answer overall is a lot.
And also, you can't really tell when Eric's around, because it just goes.
This is true, yeah. But basically, they go through a lot of booze.
So, Ezra just could not help himself when it came to making those jokes at his and Farron's expense, could he? Sorry, I'm dyslexic and I'm not the strongest reader.
I'm proud of you.
This is why it takes me forever to read anything.
So, Ezra's mouth moves faster than his brain. If he has an opportunity to make a joke, he'll make it, and then afterwards he'll go, wait. And that's just kind of his thing. It's a very core part of his character.
Also, Farron's sword, what inspired it?
Funny you should mention that. So the curved short sword that Farron owns is actually one that I owned once. It was my first carbon steel short sword. It was my first battle-ready sword. And I used to have it. And I based his sword off of that. I don't have it any longer, though. Do you want to know why? Of course you do. It's because I gave it to Amanda as a birthday gift one year. And
it made me cry!
Yeah, it did. It made her cry a lot. And
Not a
why
lot.
is
I don't cry
okay?
a lot.
Okay, I'm sorry. It
I'm not
made her cry though.
exaggerating that. If I
Okay, but
cry, that's crazy. It's just crazy.
it is pretty crazy. But yeah, so I made her cry happy tears, and a part of that is because one of her characters is also has a sword similar to that.
As a nod, at the beginning of all this writing, as a little thank you type thing, I have a character named Griffin, and she is she just gets off on swords. Like, she thinks they're the best fucking thing ever. And so I made one of her first major swords is based off that design, so it matches Farron's perfectly. And it's kind of hilarious because we've done collabs and everyone's like, why do you have a sword? And she's like, I don't, it's mine. And it's in her world, this sword was designed by her best friend and gifted to her. Yeah, so that has no tragic ending, I promise. Just kidding.
Nope,
I'm lying. Anyways, so I'm gonna let HippieGhost let you know what you got to look forward to for her content before I jump into my questions, so that way her shit is all taken care of before I go answer my buckload of questions for you.
Awesome.
Peoples.
So yeah, so big things. So right now the first parts of the Fell Run are actually already up on Patreon, and Friday is the first official episode after the teaser. So you have the teaser that's going to be the title text and everything, which is up on Tapas right now. Friday is the first actual episode, and we get to get a little glimpse into Ren's childhood. And we're going to be sticking with that childhood up through until, well, he grows up pretty much. This is definitely a very linear story. I might have a few flashbacks and everything, but if you're familiar with the way Amanda writes, then, it's going to be a lot like that. Shorter chapters and everything, too, so if if you have trouble reading large chapters and everything, you don't have to worry too much with this one, because I'm trying to actually keep these episodes short, unless it's like this scene has to be this long, which you'll be kind of aware of. Episode 2 will drop for Patreon's subscribers that day, and big thing with my Patreon, well, two things. One, now is a really good time to sign up for it, because I'm getting a tarot deck soon, which is going to affect my tiers for my Patreon subscriptions. Right now, everybody is getting a Oracle Dice reading if they sign up for it. And, that takes a long time to do. And it's a very much more in-depth reading than a tarot reading is. So, once I get the tarot deck, I'm planning on making some changes to the way I do things. But at the moment, this is kind of the cheapest you're able to get an Oracle Dice reading from me. Also, and this is again goes for people that have trouble, especially reading on a screen, because I know the screens kind of do things. But my Patreon has printable versions of my work, so that's exciting. Beyond that, that's really all I've got as far as upcoming content goes.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Hippie. It's been a pleasure having you.
It has been a pleasure to be here. I miss you already.
Well, that sucks for you.
RIP.
I mean, I love you too. Miss ya. Toodle-doo.
All right.
I'm so good at the emotions, guys. Girls.
You are. All right. Well,
peeps.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody. I will, I'll see you next time.
All right. So, I need to boop that in the face.
Bye, everybody.
Toodles. There we go. So, anyways, going back to the questions for when Souls Awaken, because I didn't get to any of them, but we're gonna get to all of them now. So, Ruby, hope you're still listening. If this is the future and you're listening, and Z and Crow, hoping you stick around. But anyways, so the first question I got was, there has been some time skips. How long has it been since the start of it all? So chapter 45, which dropped today, is takes place on day 4,780 since Axis first made his appearance, first became a mage, because apparently I decided not to do the math and I just kept the amount of days. So, if you give me 1 second, it should be like 13 years. Yeah, it's been about 13 years since Axis became the first Phoenix, and it's been 3 days in the story since Axis returned. If you're wondering for that as well. Thank you, Z. I appreciate you. So has Flora lost it? If so, do we know with who? Okay, so it here is referencing her virginity, and yeah, she has, because I mean, she just did it with Lena. So, I don't think we know necessarily who she lost it to, so to speak, because I guess it probably happened more after her time, somewhere, you know, between now and her time after dating Yuka, because, you know, she was still pretty young when she was dating Yuka. And so the next question, because I thought I was going to go on there for more, but no, that's all I got for that. Anyway, so is Flora going to run around and find ladies to be with during this whole adventure? Well, Flora will meet a few and have some really good have some good fun, and we'll be privy to a one here or there about it. But I mean, she's a ladies' woman, you know. But she's having some good fun. So did the God of Luck just happen to use that door at the right time back in chapter 36? I'm sure he could have just appeared in all dusty dust like he left with, but did he somewhat do that on purpose? It's asking, you know, if Gratianon, you know, did it purposely or just by luck did he save Flora and Yuka in chapter 36? And the thing is it really was pure luck. He went there with the sole purpose of finding Alora and nothing else. And just to ask her to, you know, do a prayer for him. And he just happened to throw open the door at just the right time to help the right person. Because that's just his luck. He's just like naturally lucky because, I mean, God of luck. Anyways, on to the next question. What sort of slavery was Alora subjected to? Or subjugated to? Was it just torturous or pervy or like a maid? So she was basically free hard labor. She was like a hard labor type deal with her owners having the intention of selling her off for a good payout. There was no sexual abuse that occurred during it, but there was plenty of physical abuse, like whippings and whatnot, hence the scarring on her back. This next question is Axis happy about meeting up with the whole gang? He is, but he's scared he might hurt them again. He has had a lot of conflict in his heart during this, and it's going to take him a bit to find his confidence with Alora again. So what has he been doing all this time was the next one. So he's basically been up to general fuckboyness, so he's not really caring about much else besides making money to spend on women and food. He really does not care about much. Hasn't been like a good person. He's just been Axis the whole time. So this question is from way back, but was it ever told why Alora couldn't get Viserys's blessing? This has yet to be revealed, but it is coming up, and the arc that will reveal this starts being foreshadowed in chapter 45, which just dropped today. It's more clear in chapter 46, possibly, kinda, sorta, which dropped for Patreon today. So has Kuro ever gifted his abilities to someone? He has to Alanis and Frank. I love Frank. He's fucking great. He's super important. And you could even say invaluable. You want to know who he is? Then keep following the story, because Frank comes into play for the end game. He's actually a huge fucking character that is not played up at all. And I just wanted to give him such a normal name, because why not? So another question was, has Viserys given his gifts to anyone yet? And that's a big no. It's actually no, he hasn't. He's keeping his powers for himself so far. Oh, and this question was from you, Z. I know that. I'm pretty sure this one's from you. Anyway, so for our question, what switch was flipped to make Flora so damn flirty? So when she got out of that suffocating relationship with Yuka, and she learned, you know, that like she could be such an idol for the town when she was in Sanctum. She really enjoys seeing the effect she has on the ladies, and she got the confidence to back it. And you know, she's 19 too, so it's kind of, she's just in her prime. She's ready for this, you know. Next question was, how deeply did the request from Lars cut Al when she read it and thought of Axis right off the bat? Al was pretty messed up by it, but it reminded her, you know, of her broken heart, and it's nowhere close to mended yet, at least where this part of the story takes place. Also, now Rune gets cute outfits as well. Of course he does, at least in the colder climates. I mean, how could I not, you know, take the opportunity to give the sloth a cute little sweater? How did Al decide to use Rune to pick which request to take? She had multiple prayers once upon a time, and she was agonizing over which to do first, and Rune pointed to one, and she was like, fine. And everything worked out really well, so she just kept going with it. It's just like, you know, I just thought it was a fun little flavor to put on it, you know what I mean? Anyways, do those girls have massive charisma or what for the tavern owner to even say goodbye to Rune? Heck yeah, I mean, Flora is one of those easy to love people, and she is a bard at heart, whether or not she realizes it. Alora also has possesses a natural charisma, and she's, you know, plus she's pretty polite, and, you know, they get along. Yeah, Al is a creature of habits, that's for sure. The woman that makes Flora's brain go brr, pretty woman, is she a fated encounter? So she is quite the fated encounter, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. It seems the gods are more active in their observation of Unicus these days. Is it that she's interesting, or that they're bored and worried? They're more active because she keeps taking on their prayers without fail, and she's, you know, kind of unknowingly creating a movement almost, because there is still a war coming, and the victims, you know, they know Hero exists, because you know, we still have, so the arc that's going to start coming to light in like the next couple of chapters is one of the major arcs of the story, but it's not the final arc. It's just one of them. So, I mean, I guess I probably could have made this story like 3 different stories, but it's all in one story because I don't know where to stop. But we have a really big arc coming up that's going to set up a lot of issues and stuff and reveal some really awesome things, and I really cannot wait for it. I think June ends with the content I have posted that I have planned for June will end in the climax of that, at least for the Patreon. Otherwise, the climax will probably occur in July. Sorry, I don't know months apparently. Let me double check that real quick, because I do have the dates figured out for the chapters for the most part, but this is assuming I don't have to cut any more chapters, because chapter 45 and 46 used to actually be just one chapter, but I ended up breaking it into 2 because it was so long, and I still had to post 46 as 2 separate parts, so, but which we'll post on next Friday. But okay, yeah, so July is when the climax is supposed to occur for that arc, but it might be longer depending if some of these other chapters get broken up, because like my chapters started getting really long at this point. Like they started averaging like somewhere between 10 and 15 pages, and I'm just like, Tapas doesn't like that. And honestly, the time that I have for editing does not like that either. But anyways, so it seems like Axis is in far better control of himself, but still manages to burn down the place, though. Also, Lars is paying him, so he didn't. So on the part about burning down the place, that wasn't Axis. He didn't actually burn down any part of that town. That was all the Fallen Phoenix's work. The only part that he did scorch of the town was the bit that was, you know, under the bodies in the town, you know, like the spot that, you know, he was told to burn, you know. So Lars paid him because he set it up. Lars Solus made sure that Allura and Axis would cross paths here. He purposely reunited them for 2 reasons. 1 was to help Axis, and 2, you will have to get access to the commentary edition of When Souls Awaken through my Patreon and read the comments in chapter 46, which dropped today, to have it pointed out for you directly. I thought it'd be fun to leave that second reason. Part of the reason yeah, he is. Part of the reason I'm not pointing out that reason is it has to do with the arc that's coming up, and I don't want to, it can be a lot more spoilerly than I mean to be, you know? So how badly did it really get to Axis when Al basically screamed all of her worry and frustration over the years at him? Axis was utterly destroyed by the truth, and he's still contemplating running away. He's pretty heartbroken. He didn't realize, like, he knew he was an ass, but he didn't realize he was that much of an ass. You know what I mean? So why does it feel like Axis and Rune have Al's number when it comes to making her rest? It's because they're the only two that'll stand up to her bullshit to herself. Flora's always worried about being the straw that breaks the camel back, and then everyone else is just like, she knows what she's doing. So the next question was also, Rune is pretty old for a sloth. Does he have any signs as to, you know, how old he is? I'm like, and I'm just here, I'm like, I probably should have thought of this, but I'll get back to you on it. So I'm gonna move on to the next question. So with the information that Flora made the big Shadow Doom happen, how is she going to face it besides bottling it up? We will have to see how it affects her character development, assuming that it does. But chances are that she'll take the experience of watching Allura bury everything and, you know, just kind of apply that. So, you know, she might not do the healthy thing here. And Allura's not going to be like, oh, I don't know. We'll have to see how that plays out to, you know more about that. All right. And to the next question. Gosh, we're almost through them, guys. We got 5 left. So, healthy choices these kids cannot make. That is true. They're all too traumatized. Flora is the closest to making healthy choices, but, you know, she still messes up. She's still young. She's learning. Flora seems to have really made use of her studies with Kuro. Just how good of a field doctor is she? She's pretty much top notch. She was an incredible student, and she was at the forefront of her field, so to speak, with the god of healing teaching her. And it's never really, I don't think it's really stated, but it's always been kind of in the back of my head, meaning to add it to her character sheet kind of thing, that she is supposed to be like a pretty high IQ, like a genius, you know? But anyways, so if Luna Norma, you know, the moon god, did not save Axis, who did? Maybe Love did? Huh? Or maybe that's an arc that's coming up? Can't answer that. But I'm gonna side with Asa Rior and just say maybe Love did. So I'm guessing, the next question says, so I'm guessing that burning the bodies of the dead is not the normal for them. If so, what is the normal or most common burial rates? Yes, she is a flirty genius. But no, to the question. So it actually isn't far off from being the norm, really. So the burial rites vary depending on who they worship, like god-wise, but burning the bodies is kind of the go-to, especially when the followed god isn't known, because they kind of see it as a clean way to release the body, you know? You can't really... Clean way to release the body. Clean way to release the soul is what I meant to say. But anyways, so it's and I mean, honestly, it's not something I've really thought about too much. The importance of the whole burial rites really goes into the marking of the bodies rather than burying them or burning them after the fact. You know what I mean? So Allura marking them all for Erisposis, you know, the goddess of heaven, who is a dragon god, which is pretty nifty. You know, helps those souls to find their way without Nexiva having to come and figure it out for everyone. And then she marked, the fallen phoenix for Asa Rior, because she's like, he tried to do the right thing. His heart was in the right place, but you can't really, he killed so many innocents, but so he can't really go to heaven or hell. So he's going to go to sanctuary, basically. So the next question was, are Axis and Al ever going to get over their awkward attraction phase? Boy, I hope so. So the last question was, does Flora and Usko talk often, or has their relationship been one-sided in nature? So, although their dialogue between the two isn't shown often, they totally have like little gab fests, They are bestest of friends, soul friends, if you will. And so even if they aren't really talking, they're still communicating through, feelings and vibes in their souls. Like, they don't have to talk to have a conversation. You know what I mean? They, their souls are connected. And we'll see bigger parts of Usko later on. And one of the stories I am working on, there's a lot to do with Usko later on in it, and it's interesting. It's all interesting. Can't wait for it. Looking forward to it. Anyways, that concludes all the questions. So the next content drop for Hopeful Attempt will be chapter 46, titled Dragon Cake, and that drops on Friday, the 28th. And I'm looking forward to that. So besides that, that pretty much is everything of the stream right there. But I just have one announcement with in regards to the content schedule starting. Axis is gonna get his cake. But what I have to say for the content schedule in regards to June is we're switching up the streaming just a tiny bit. Not really, just so what will be changing is Fridays. All Fridays will be Oblivion streams. We won't be doing Storytime Chit-Chat on Fridays anymore. They will be moved to Thursdays at 10 p.m. EST, with still continuing their bi-weekly schedule. Otherwise, Wednesday's stream will still be a co-op stream. It's just my Oblivion streams do so well, so. But Storytime Chit-Chats will be moved to Thursday at 10 p.m. Every other Thursday. So that makes the next Storytime Chit-Chat June 3rd. And I really hope to see everyone there. And thank you so much, Z, for sticking around. I appreciate the heck out of you. Anyways, let me just go to the credits. Big old special thanks to my Patreon and Ko-Fi supporters, that being Yuzi, along with Ruby, Kathy, Cease, Alex, and well, your Drell. Sorry, I gave up your identity there. Watch out. Oh no. Anyways, thank you so much for coming to the stream. I really appreciate it. I look forward to the next chapters that are coming out and seeing what everyone thinks. It'll be great. But anyways, that's it for tonight. Have a good night. Love you guys. You're the best. Oh my god, I can't do the heart. There we go. Ha. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. The streams changed and all that. Anyways, gonna hang up now. Have a good night, everyone. That was what I remember what I was gonna say. I'm going to try and start doing I'm gonna start throwing in some random streams that aren't scheduled. I don't even know if I'll announce, I'll try and announce them when I do them, but they'll be just short gaming streams. Like, I might do like a Move Monday stream or something that's a VR stream just for fun, to try and test out different games and whatnot. Those will most likely be solo streams because co-host got work. Anyways, good night, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all so much. Toodle-doo.